Hello guys. Welcome to another tutorial of how to make a game like Agar.io. In this video we will cover how to make limits for our player movements. So let's start. To make limits for the player movements, we need to know something first. Imagine that we have a player here. Our player can move anywhere in the scene, and this is the problem, he can move anywhere. And we have made the mass spawner creates masses in a specific area of the scene. If our player gets out of it, there would be no mass and the game might look kind of weird. So we want to create some limit system that will block our player from going so far away. To do that, we will make a new script, rename it to something like map, and then double-click on it to open it in Visual Studio. Remove the two methods it won't be used in this script. We will need to make an instance for this script so we can call it from anywhere, public static map, called ins. And at the awake method, check if the instance is equals to null. If it is, then instance is equals to this script. Let's store it in a region so our code will look much cleaner. And now, we will make a vector2 variable that going to be the limits of our scene. Call it map limits. Then, we will need a way to see how big are those limits. Luckily, Unity has made a gizmos tools that allows us to see it from the inspector. By using a gizmos method, void on draw gizmos selected method will be showing once we select the object that have this script, while on draw gizmos method will always be showing. I will choose the selected on for now. So what we want to do is to create a wire box that will be covering the distance of the map limits vector. We will need a color variable to give for the gizmos box. Go create a public variable of type color. We will be controlling in the scene. Then, gizmos.drawWireCube. This function needs a point where to instantiate the box, which is transform.position, and it will need a radius, which means how big is the box. Give it our map limits vector that we have already created. And that is it. Now we should be able to see it. Then go back into Unity. Create a new empty game object. Call it map. Right-click on the transform component and reset the transform. And give it our map script. Now change the color and give some values to the map limits vector. Make sure that the alpha of the color is set to something high so we will be able to see it in the scene. Change the value of the map limits vector to 30 for the x and 20 for the y. I am just going to change the gizmos method to onDrawGizmos without selected, so we can always see it. So now we have our visible area in the scene. Now the next step is to make our spawner spawns masses depending on this lines in the scene. To do that, get into Visual Studio, in the mass spawner script. As you can see, we are using a position vector to instantiate our mass somewhere. Let's delete that. We will get some errors of a missing variable. But don't worry about it, we will fix it now. Go and make a variable for outMap. We have made an instance of the map so we can call it from anywhere. And in the start method, map is equals to map.instance. So go down here, where we are getting a random number to instantiate our mass, and replace each password with map.mapLimits. Delete the gizmos method that we have made before, we won't be using it anymore. And it should be working now. the masses should be instantiating within our map limits vector. Go into Unity and play. As you can see, the masses gets instantiated within our box that we have just created, but the problem is, our player is still able to cross the lines of the box. To fix that, go inside of player movement script, again make a map variable and in the start method, map is equals to map.instance, then find where we are making the direction vector for our player to move. Here we are doing it. We will use a mathf function that will clamp the value of the direction between min and max value. Direction.x is equals to a mathf.clamp. First, give the value that we are working on, which is the direction.x, then give the min value, which is map.maplimits.x. It should be multiply with -1 to make the value in negative, and also divided by 2, so we get the half angle of the box. Then give the max value, which is the map.maplimits.x without multiplying it with -1. But you also need to divide it with 2 to get the half box distance, and simply do the same thing with direction.y. But instead of x, write y. And now go back into Unity and test it. Our player should not get out of the red lines. Then I will decrease the size of the map limits vector to make another test. Of course you need to control how many mass to instantiate depending on how big is your scene, but for now I am just testing out. Everything seemed to be good. Change the values of the map limits vector to 60 for the x and 50 for the y. That's it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to help us grow our channel, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss the future ones. Without further ado, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.